Welcome to Tech Shala by Pavi. In this video we are going to discuss about what is scope chain, what are different type of scope like global scope, function scope and block scope. So let's get started. So in JavaScript, scope determines where a function variable can be accessed in our code. There are mainly three scope in JavaScript. First is global scope, function scope and block scope. So global scope is variable declared outside any function or block is accessible everywhere. So for example, I created one variable here, let equal to 10, and I have one function there, function say hello, and this function is trying to print the value of a, right? So this variable is accessible there inside the function. I am creating one block here, true. If I am trying to print it here, so it is accessible there also. So if I run this program, I need to call this function. If I call this, I am getting 10. That means this whatever the global variable is there, it is accessible in function scope as well as block scope. Let's talk about what is function scope. I'll create another function that is a grid. Inside this grid function, I am going to define one variable, let b equal to const b equal to 20. And now I'm trying to access this value outside this function scope. So let's see what I get. So I cannot access. I'm getting this error. That means I cannot access the value of b outside the function scope. That is a function scope. Basically we can't access this outside this function. If I try to print inside b this function, I will get that value. So if I need to call this function. If I call this, I can see the 20 is there, this 20 is there, and it is printing that value correctly inside a function scope. So now let's talk about block scope. So block scope is, for example, I have one function let's say hello, and inside this function there is one block, if true, I am declaring one variable, let's say c equal to 30, and I am trying to print the value of c here inside a block. So let's see what I get. I will comment this function. Okay, I call this hello function here. I am getting 30, that is correct here. Suppose I want to try access this value outside. So what I can do, I can write console.log c and see I am not able to access this value. I am getting the reference error. And with the help of state and const, we can create a block level variable, block scope variable. Suppose I need to declare some variable, right? So here I am going to create another variable 40. Now this 40 is available inside this c, correct? That means this is creating as a function scope. And with the help of block scope, with the help of let and const, we can create a same variable. We don't need to create a different variable. We can use the same name, but our block will be different there. So that is what the block is scope is all about. So whatever the variable declared with let and const with the curly braces, like loops or if statements, become your block scope. So now what is scope chain? The scope chain is a process of JavaScript that uses to resolve the variable around when they are called. If the variable is not found in the current scope, JavaScript moves one level up to the outer scope, then further up until it reaches to the global scope. So suppose I have one function here, that is outer function, and this outer function is having some variable. I am creating one global scope variable, let x equal to 100, and then I have another inner function here, inner function, and I will create here one let y equal to 200, and here let z equal to 300. Now I am trying to access the value of z here. Let's see what I got. I need to call this outer function first, outer function, and I also need to call this inner function here. So I am getting 300. That means this value is accessible in current scope. Now suppose I try to access this value of y here, right? So y is not there in this current function scope, right? So what it will do, it will try climb up the ladder and it will try to search that y variable inside this function, outer function scope. So here it found that y is defined as 200. So it will print that value as 200. Now if I try to print the value of x here, it will again move further up, like it will search here. It is not there, it will go to the outer function. If it is not there in outer function, it will go to the top, that is a global scope. And in the global scope, I can see that x is there. Suppose I create one, try to call one value there, like let's say w, or w. So I'm getting w is not defined here. This is the reference here. That means this variable isn't exist anywhere in the code, like neither in inner function or local scope, not nor in a outer scope, or nor in a this outer global scope. So this is the best example to understand how the scope chain works in JavaScript. So basically the important rules are: inner function have access to the outer function variable, like this inner function can access the outer function, and scope chain always move outward in the outward direction, never in inward direction, and this outer function can't access what is there inside a function. For example, inside this function I have z variable, right? Z. Suppose I want to print the value of z here, it will not allow me, it will give error. Why? Because this outer function cannot see what is there in inside function. And JavaScript first look in the local scope, then it moves step by step to the topmost scope. Let's check a real world example. Think of scope chain like searching for a lost pen in a room. First you search in your room, that is your local scope. If not found, you check your house, that is outer function scope. If it is still not found, you check in neighborhood, that is global scope. If still not found, that means pen doesn't exist and it is a reference error. So to summarize this, the scope chain is a mechanism that JavaScript uses to look for the variable, starting in the current scope, moving outward step by step until it reaches to the global scope. Yeah, and that's all about scope and scope chain in JavaScript. And if you like this video, please like, share and subscribe. Thank you.